Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from titled Parents subreddit. We ain't been here in a hot minute, from Brins89, who says, my family disowned me 15 years ago. Complete no contact. Now, all at once, they want back in my life and are stalking me. I finally confronted them. Disclaimer, part of this is from a post on Am I the Arsehole that was removed, then added to the events of today. I don't know if this goes here. I just needed to get it out. I confronted them today and I can't stop crying or shaking. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. I'm finally calming down a little to get this done. So I, 36 male, got into some trouble 15 years ago. I take all the responsibility for this, and even to this day I carry all the shame, guilt, and embarrassment for it. Also, this might come up. This is not a culture or religion. It's just shame to the family name. The situation when I was 19, my ID was stolen and was being used in another state, and created a situation where my driver's license was suspended nationwide. Somehow, any and all notifications from the other state never made it to me. I started doing all the necessary things I needed to do to try and fix the problem. I, however, had a couple of tickets in my current state that I needed to pay but couldn't because I needed to pay my rent and keep my apartment. Also at the time, my full-time job was having problems and was borderline shutting down. So to try and make ends meet, I was doing a lot of freelance work as well. Again, my fault. I knew the company was in trouble, but I was still holding out hope that things would get better. I was hoping that a couple more freelance jobs and I'd be able to finally pay the tickets. This was never the case, and the long story short of it is I was arrested and spent 2 weeks in jail. Not ideal, but I guess in the long run it worked out for the best by clearing the tickets in my home state. However, my family felt otherwise and I was completely disowned because of this. I lost everything and everyone. The only reason I still had my apartment was because I had enough to cover the rent and the freelance work kept up. It took another 6 months, but I was finally able to get to the other state to release my driver's license. I decided that since my family hated me, I didn't need them. So a year later, I changed my last name, phone number, and email. My social media is locked down so tight you would think I was hiding national security secrets. I was able to finish college and get settled into my career, and at this point, I'm happier than I've ever been. Enter current time, and 2 weeks ago, there was a knock on my door, and it was my mum and dad. Again, it had been 15 years, and I hadn't spoken to them not one word. The only thing I could get out of my mouth was, "How did you find me, and what are you doing here?" My mum's response was, $5,000 to a private investigator. Finally, a search of Facebook with just your name found you, and the private investigator confirmed it was you. I responded, "You didn't answer my second question. What are you doing here?" My mum again said, "It's been 15 years. Looking at where you are, it seems you've learned your lesson and you're succeeding. You've missed out on a lot of things." I ended with, "Yes, I've learned my lesson. One of them is I don't think anyone will ever help you or be understanding, even your family. And yes, I did succeed, and I did it entirely without you. Please leave and don't ever come back." I shut the door in their face, locked it, checked the back door, and closed all the curtains. I'm guessing they hung around for another 15 minutes knocking, demanding to be let in. I went back to bed, turned the fan on high, and went back to sleep. I did some research, and I have missed out on a lot. I have nieces and nephews, brothers and sister-in-laws. But the truth is, I don't know any of them. And I don't think I need to. I live a very quiet life. I can count on 2 hands how many friends I actually have. A friend said I might have taken it too far, that I should have given them a chance, and if I didn't like what they had to say, then I could have told them to go away. I was hoping that this was going to be the end of it, but no. They have taken to stalking me. I'll be completely honest. They are harmless, but just a real pain in the ass, and also I've been fucking with them and having some fun with the help of a friend. He now calls them fleas and will check on me, asking if I have fleas or not. It's kind of funny. If I say yes, then it's game on. The first night he came over and we walked to town to a really expensive restaurant that I knew they were never going to go to. Another night we went to the porn store. That was the best one. This past week, the way my days off fell, I had a 5-day stretch, so I decided to go to the city for a few days. I'm walking distance to the Amtrak station and they followed me. I kept my AirPods in the whole time and I knew they were trying to talk to me, but I ignored them the entire time. People on the platform even were telling me that they were talking to me, and I said I know, but I don't want to deal with them. The train came and I got on and left them to watch. I loved it. It got to the point I finally had to acknowledge them. They weren't going to go away, so we met at the park across from my apartment. I didn't hold anything back. I told them this was the one and only time I was going to talk to them. I took a page from the Matlock series and told them I was their judge. I was their jury. Thank you, Olympia Lawrence. I then told them that as far as I was concerned, they were guilty of anything and everything, and all I was doing was hearing what they had to say before I walked away from them. I asked them that why now, after 15 years, they're demanding to be back in my life, and why they made the decisions they did to disown me. They told me that I ruined the family name, that the shame I brought to the family was horrible, and that this was the only way to make it right was to get rid of me. They said that recently my name has been coming up in conversation, that the family has grown with a lot of new people. That brother and sister-in-law were asking questions about who is Brinley. That I have a niece who they think I would love and get along with, and the same for a nephew who was born last year, and now should be the time to fix things. They said that looking at my apartment and the life I had, that I must have learned my lesson about being a better person and managing my life better. I finally cut them off and told them that I couldn't stand to hear any more. I was at the point I could hear my heart beating in my ears. I told them I did everything completely by myself. Nobody from that life exists anymore, not one person. That they need to just tell everyone the truth, that I was in jail for 2 weeks and because of this, the decision was made to get rid of me. I told them that I did it all on my own and that my one cousin Jean, who is only a cousin by marriage, was the one who was there for me, hence why I took her last name. I told them that to this day, I'm doing everything on my own and rely on nobody and don't need or want them in any way in my life. They made their decisions and I'm making mine. I told them this will be the last time we talk and that I would be going to see a lawyer to see if there's anything they could do to be done to keep them away from me, and that if they continue to follow me around or show up at my apartment, I would have them arrested for trespassing. And I went back home and again locked everything down, pulled the curtains, and I've been crying since. The absolute audacity in this to talk about family name and shame when these people have just disowned you for having a couple of tickets that you couldn't pay, that you struggled to pay, and eventually ended up in jail for, and apparently you shamed the family name. They are absolutely awful people. And let's not also forget that they're bloody stalking you now, and they have the cheek to turn up to your door and say you've learned your lesson. It was like OP said, what lesson? When life gets tough, your family's going to completely abandon you. Absolute cheeky bastards. Commenter says to OP, they disowned you over a couple of traffic tickets. The real damage to any honor they have is that they didn't help out their son when he was in financial trouble. I'm willing to bet that they want money from you now that you're living a good life. Kay replies to that saying, for real, I kept reading through thinking, wait, there's got to be something more. This family disowned their child over a couple of fucking traffic tickets. What the actual fuck? Dude, you did nothing wrong. Stop taking the blame for any of those, and please get it out of your head that you shamed the family name. The only people who should be ashamed is them, and quite frankly, if that's the type of family they want to be, I'm thinking there isn't much there in the first place. Traffic tickets. Unreal. OP says, my cousin Jean came over the other day. I'm not sure what was going through her head, but she just showed up with wine, pizza, and cheesecake. God, I love that woman. I was really struggling with all of this, and she could tell. She finally just sat me down and told me what a lot of other people have told me. None of this was my actual fault. I hit the perfect storm and it went into a hurricane. She revealed a lot of family secrets that she felt I needed to know, which really made me look at my parents in a different and truly negative way. That could maybe be a separate updated post. Dev says you don't have to forgive them. You're welcome to forget them. It's all they deserve. Get a restraining order, violate them on it a couple of times, and go on with your life. Decide how you want to respond to any of these new people reaching out, but it's okay if you give them just a polite, no thanks, I'm good, and go on with your life. OP says I told them, don't ever show up on my doorstep or I'll throw them in jail, and then they can experience what I did. They didn't like that too much, but I'm hoping that was all it will take. I'm going to see a lawyer and see if having a cease and desist notice sent to them. Maybe getting a letter from the lawyer will slow them down. Aunt says, damn, good for you for getting where you are despite your family. I cannot get over the fact that they disowned you over the license thing. My sister did some shit and was arrested and was in jail for a while. Not once did any of us think to not be there for her. My mum did everything she could to help my sister, and while we weren't happy with the path she chose, we stood by her. That was years ago, and she's turned her life around. I'm sorry they weren't there for you, but you should be damn proud of where you are now, despite them. Opie says, I don't expect anything from anyone. I only had 2 people who stood by me until one of them said I was too much work, and that she didn't want to deal with me anymore. Enter my cousin Jean, my hero. She is only related by marriage, but she was there every step of the way, and never once, even to this day, said anything horrible. I'm just beyond grateful for her. So, OP did update the post and said, many of you have been asking for an update. First and foremost, thank you for all your responses. I was overwhelmed. I read every single one. I just couldn't keep up to responding to them. I also worked some extra shifts and had some really nice overtime, which right now comes in handy. Please just know I was not ignoring you. I just couldn't keep up. This isn't the update that many of you were most likely hoping for. I haven't heard from my family since I confronted them. I'm hoping that it's all done and over, but at the same time, I'm thinking they are trying something else. I wanted to address some other things. Many are saying that they're out for money or body parts, that they see I'm successful and such. I can't see this being the case. I truly don't think it's money. If they were able to drop $5,000 for a private investigator, I can't see them hurting financially. My dad worked as a ORD for his entire career and made good money. I think OP confirmed that's something like haulage or something like that. And OP continues, my mum worked for a global corporation as a historical document manager. I didn't ask, but I'm thinking they might even still be working. Others said they may need body parts. I can't see this being the case either, because all of these would have been mentioned the first or the last time we talked. You'll be surprised some of the stories we've seen. People have mentioned they see me successful and want in on it, and take the credit saying that they are responsible for that and how they treated me. I'm successful in my own way. My education is in healthcare management, and I work as a unit secretary. I've been here for a while and I truly love my job. I'm at the top of my pay scale and that's okay. I've made a life for myself. Yes, I do have some money stashed away. I live below my means and do what I have done. I'm single, no kids, so it's allowed me to save money. And now, on with the update. I've not heard from any of them since the last meet where I confronted them. I'm hoping that they are just gone at this point. I truly don't want anything to do with any of them. I don't care that I have nieces or nephews or that I have a new brother and sister-in-laws. I would have to know my sister and brother and my parents to know all these new people, and frankly, all of them are strangers. And it just brings up a lot of bad emotions. My cousin Jean is the only person I have anything to do with, and she's been my rock. I can't begin to thank her enough for all she has done. She's been on vacation for a few weeks, so she doesn't know much of what happened. She got back and came over the other night. She showed up with wine, pizza and cheesecake. God, I love that woman. We covered that a moment ago. I opened the door and was greeted with, the wise woman has arrived and brought the makings of a great evening. I started crying to her response. However, it looks like I should have arrived a few days ago. She set everything on the counter and just hugged me to get me to calm down. Finally, as she opened the wine and fixed up dinner, I told her everything. At the end, she got a vindictive smile on her face and was like, we need to talk. It's time for some family secrets to be told. First, she started with telling me that regardless of what others have said, what happened wasn't my fault. I was stuck in the perfect storm, which blew up. She told me she saw my folder that had all of the work I had done to fix the problem, but it just didn't go fast enough. She reminded me that I didn't kill anyone. I didn't deal drugs or anything like that. I was stuck in a situation that didn't get fixed fast enough. She went on to tell me that it was no surprise that when I did the name change, that I chose the one I did. Come to find out, it was the last name I was born under, which was my grandmother's, my mother's mother, last maiden name. Jean, don't let your parents fool you. They are not the pure pillars of community that they want you to believe. I've always known that the relationship was not the best, but when I was born, they were split up and my mum was trying to hide me from my dad. My grandparents didn't like him, so it was decided to give me my grandmother's family name. She was getting more and more pissed off as she spoke. So let's talk about names, since they are so hell-bent of how you shame the family name. Your mother was the one who was born under the influential names. Her mother's family, the name you took, was pretty much owned two of the local towns in our county. Your grandfather's name owned a few businesses in a different town. Your father's family was never heard of. They were from a different state and moved here for work purposes. Your dad has been writing off your mother's name and connections. Even to this day, your dad's family is pretty much a bunch of unknowns. On top of that, even if your grandparents were alive, they would have been completely behind you and wouldn't have bought into that whole bullshit of shaming the family name. The only time I ever saw her in a mood like this was when I was in college, and when she introduced herself to the class, she looked square at me and made it clear that she had no favorites. All of this has really made me look at my parents in a different way, and none of it's positive. It just reaffirms what I want even more, which is for them to just go away and never come back. To the small few of you saying this is fake, fan fiction and whatnot, go for it. Apparently all of you live in a perfect world with perfect families, and you most likely say the same thing to every post you read. I couldn't give two shits. A flying fuck or a rat's ass what you think. I just need to get this out. The top commenter on this one says, now, I wonder if your father is really your father or if your mum had a fling while separated from your dad. This might explain why they disowned you so fast. Also, as I said before, this is all about image. Your parents not wanting to look bad in front of their social group since you became a normal functioning adult with what amounts to an average desk job. Who knows if they will come back at you or just make up some excuse that they tried and you have no heart and can't forgive their minor mistakes. Opie says, I'm really wanting a DNA test. But to do that, I would need him to submit for one as well. But that would require me to have to talk to him. At the same time, maybe just have a DNA done and see if any of them matches. Someone says, was Gene one of your professors in college? I don't blame you for shutting them down with their guess you've learned your lesson. They sure screwed up with that idiotic approach. The freaking audacity. Of course you cried. You have a kind and caring heart that is still wounded by their treatment. I wish you all the blessings you deserve. Opie says she was one of my professors. The funny thing was that she didn't have favorites, but she found a way around it to still have a favorite. And now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Inevitable Gain 340. And it says, am I the arsehole for being upset that my ex-husband didn't take our divorce the way he took his recent breakup? I, 32 female, was married to Cam, 34 male. For 6 years and together for 16 years in total. And we also share a daughter, Mia, 4 female. A bit of background. I was a stay-at-home mum and he worked, but I noticed he was coming home late. He started getting angry a lot, always on his phone, and to mention I had caught him looking at this girl's Instagram story before, but I didn't think anything of it. Shortly after that, I found out he was cheating on me with Sky, now 19 female. Yeah, fairly legal. When I found out, obviously I was hurt, but I was also completely disgusted that he was cheating and willing to ruin our family for her. I became a stay-at-home mum when my daughter was born, and we made an agreement that he was in charge of our money, and he would just give me his card to use if I needed anything to buy. I wasn't making any income except for the money I had before our daughter, which I kept in my bank account, and I saved it for emergencies. I felt stuck because I didn't know what to do, and for my daughter's sake, I didn't end up leaving. I got suspicious and I went to look for the girl through his followings on Facebook and Instagram. I ended up finding the girl's story. I was looking up Instagram and I just made an assumption that it might be her, and I shot her a DM. Long story short, she was rude as hell. She had no remorse and kept on telling me to bother my husband who cheated instead of bothering her. She was aware he had a wife and family but didn't care, and even told me that he was paying her tuition. I ended up getting mad and telling her to stay away from my husband, but she just told me she would keep going and it was fun. After that, I guess she told my husband. I think he realized that I wasn't leaving. He would literally leave his location on, even when he went to a college campus, which really pissed me off because I couldn't see how he was really ruining all we had for some girl who isn't even serious about him, and also not even fucking legal to drink yet. Our daughter Mia attends ballet, and they had a performance. This is what really was my breaking point. because our child should always come first. He was out all night long that Friday, and on Saturday was the recital, and obviously he needed to be there for Mia's first recital. I gave him until 11 p.m. Then I finally called him, and guess who picked up the phone? Sky. She told me that he was busy and then hung up, and then that was my breaking point. I quickly packed some of mine and Mia's stuff up, and I woke her up so we could go to my mum's house, who didn't live far. So we ended up crashing the night there. I didn't want him to come back home to us, nor did I want to see him when I woke up. That was a year ago. Now we're divorced and have full custody of Mia, while he has visitation rights. I got a job, saved up, and now in an apartment, and while it's not the best, it's good for me and Mia for the time being. Anyways, after the divorce they ended up getting together for a couple of months. While they were together, he was visiting Mia, but not as often. I'd say like twice a month. To nobody's surprise, she ended up leaving him after a couple of months, but this is where I may be the arsehole. Ever since they've broken up, he's been depressed. He drinks a lot. He doesn't eat much. He's always sulking on the couch and just not himself. He comes over more often to see Mia, which is why I know this, and I feel away. He's all depressed because she left, but didn't have this energy when we divorced after being together for 16 years. When we divorced, he didn't seem to care at all. He was just nonchalant about it and kept messing around with Sky. But now that this girl you were barely with left you, you're depressed. I know he's going through it, but I can't help feel a certain way about this. Am I the arsehole for being upset that my ex-husband didn't take our divorce the way he took his recent breakup? This was in my notes first as I was debating to post this here, or not since my friend recommended it. It's my first time ever posting, or even on Reddit. I just needed somewhere to vent and advice. The top commenter said to OP on this one, "Get him off your effing couch. Don't let him in your house. If he wants to spend time with your daughter, he can organize himself. Don't be a fool and get back with him. He's a loser, and you'll be an even bigger loser. Get on with your own life. Make things better for your daughter." Then Policy replies that saying, "Seriously, let him take your kid elsewhere. Glow up and make sure he sees you do it. That you're too busy for him. Accept that his behavior is not only him realizing what a loser he is and what he lost, but that he never respected you in the first place." And, you know, he's probably not just sad about losing his current girlfriend. He's probably reflecting on everything he's done recently. He's lost his wife. You know, he's got limited visitation with his child, which it doesn't sound like he's making much of an effort for anyway. And he's going to be a big loser in that department at some stage when his kid doesn't want to see him no more. But in the end, these are all consequences of his own actions. And the best thing that you can do is that we say a lot of times on this channel is living your own life. The best revenge is living your own life. But another commenter says, "Well, yeah, when he was having the affair, he had the attention of 2 women. And then when you left, he had the shiny new girlfriend to fool around with. Now she's predictably gone. He's realizing what you realized some time ago. That he's ruined a 16-year-old relationship chasing after some 19-year-old who was never really interested in him in the first place." I would say you're not the arsehole though. He upended you and your daughter's life to selfishly chase someone almost half his age, and he's feeling upset about it. Only now the chickens have come home to roost. I'd be angry and frustrated too, but ultimately, not your monkey, not your circus. Work through it the best you can. Establish some boundaries and don't let him drag you down with him. Three Little Pixie says you're the arsehole for giving any fucks to someone who did not and does not value you or his daughter. He's trash and he's upset because of the rejection. His ego is hurt and he may have confused lust for love. Love that for him, but you deserve peace in your mind and a love that honors you. Not some loser who's lost over a 19-year-old. And one more comment from Strain Pure who says not the arsehole. When you left him, he was happy because he had his girlfriend and now no longer had to worry about anyone finding out about the affair. And most probably considered himself a Casanova for getting a much younger woman. Now that she's dumped him, who's probably told him she was only with him for a laugh and some money. He's had his ego checked and realized he's fucked his life and it was all for nothing. He'll also realize that the truth will come out, and when his ween is old enough, she'll know it was his fault that she grew up with him barely in her life, and he'll be judged accordingly by her for his actions and his complete and total disrespectful attitude towards you. This is all his fault. There's nobody but himself to blame. So don't feel guilty on calling him on his attitude because he deserves no sympathy whatsoever. So at some point later, OP does come in with her update and they said, "I'm so overwhelmed right now. I didn't expect this to escalate so quickly, but it did. Firstly, I want to thank everybody who gave me advice. I really appreciate it all. I'm sorry if I took too long to reply to comments. I had a busy morning, especially with a 4-year-old who attends preschool and also hates getting up in the morning. A bit of background about their relationship, at least the stuff I know. The divorce happened last year, so at the time Sky was 18. I clarified this in the comments, but I'm going to say it again. Cam was the one who offered Sky to pay her tuition. And I think he did that to keep her around. After I found out about the divorce, he would come home angry. He would call her names and was mad because she was seeing other guys in college and posting herself going to parties. I don't know how long their affair was. All I know is how they met. At least this is what he told me. Cam told me that they met at a club and he thought Sky was older, but then she later told him it was a fake ID. Now, I don't believe he thought that one bit. Sky screams teenager. I could tell by just one peek at her Instagram. She looks super young. She dresses like a teenager. She has braces with a very youthful face. And she types and acts just like her age. Cam has visitation rights and he comes over to see Mia, which I'm going to make arrangements to change that. When he comes over, you could just feel the negative energy coming in with him by his attitude and the way he looks. While Mia is occupied, that's when he vents to me about Sky, which I don't know why the hell he does. I will admit I'm stupid as I don't say anything. I just let him talk. I pretty much ignore him when he's here, like he doesn't exist, while he would just vent randomly. But let me tell you guys what happened, and I'm literally so pissed. My baby gets out of preschool at 2:30. Usually my mum would pick her up, but I got to leave early, and her ballet practice is at 4 p.m. Well, during the ballet practice, you could either leave your kid there or you could stay in the practice with them. One of my closest girlfriend's daughter also attends a class and I needed to get groceries for our meals. So with her permission, I left out for a bit. My guess is that Cam gave Sky my number because I genuinely don't see how she could get it. Anyways, long story short, she has read it and she came across my post and was pissed about it. Guys, no joke. This little girl and her friends was spamming my phone with calls. She would call me and say horrible things, and the next I would get another call from somebody else who would say other stuff. This happened about 7 times. The 2 first times, admittedly, I went back and forth, but as it kept going, I finally got the hint that they were playing with my phone, so I allegedly started recording and just let them yell and insult. I knew they were all together because when Sky called first, I could hear other girls giggling or saying slick shit in the background. I allegedly didn't get the whole thing on recording because it came out of the blue, so I only got the last few. If I was to file a harassment report about this, would it be valid or not? I blocked them and threatened to call the cops the last time and they stopped, but seriously, this is childish as fuck. Edits forgot to mention that this isn't real names. It's just close to all of our names and all of our correct ages, so I think that's how she figured it was me. And the majority of the comments after this one was basically saying definitely file for harassment against her in this situation. But what would you do if you was OP? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. It's absolutely amazing. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.